best is yet to come.
Yes, I do believe that, especially here on USA Global TV. And having you as part of our TV family, I just think is fantastic. How's your experience been with us with the Mallorca connection, and also as our expert on holidays?
Yeah, first of all, I feel very honored and blessed to be part of the team, and I really enjoy it because you do with Global TV, you do such an amazing job because there's so much negative information, so much negative news on TV, in the media, mainstream media, and so on. And what you're doing is you provide positive things to the people, yeah, and kind of different topics. Whether it's fashion, it's nutrition, whatever it is, yeah, whatever topic it is, but it's positive, and I really love that because people just in this time, this challenging time with this pandemic, people need something positive, something they can believe in. That's very important. So I really appreciate what you're doing, and I love to do it. It's fantastic. I love networking. I love to bring people together to connect them. There's so much wisdom in the world. So it's all about sharing and caring, and about the holiday show. I love it because, as I mentioned, I love to celebrate. But I also believe, as I mentioned previously, it's very important that we understand what's the tradition, where it's coming from, and then maybe we can really enjoy it much more, but I really enjoy it.
I love your energy. And by the way, your glasses are the same color as my scarf. Yay! We're
Yeah.
channeling the same frequency today. So, Roland, and on a serious note as well, I just want to spotlight you so you can share some of your background, because you have been in the industry in your field for many, many, many years, helping businesses, helping business leaders, some of the biggest companies in the world. So if you could share a little bit more about that, and then we'll bring out your friend and our guest.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, my name is Roland. I'm originally from Austria. I live on this beautiful island in Spain, and I'm very driven to support with my company SPS. It's called Partner Performance Systems. Partner stands for sparing and partner. So we see ourselves as sparing partner for leaders in the industry where we work for many, many years now. It's 2.5 decades already now. And we love it. We call ourselves the ultimate people development and organizational learning experience. That's what we actually do. So we help leaders, we lead them through transition processes to go to the next level. Because the world is very global. There's more pressure, there's more competition, they're more challenging. So we are there to support them, and we strongly believe that it's time not only to think there is no box. I only strongly believe to think there is no box. Yeah, there's so many opportunities, and we limit ourselves just by our own frontiers that we set. So that's what we're doing. We support leaders and organizations to go to the next level.
Thank you so much. Keep on doing what you're doing, because it really makes a difference in the world.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you. Roland, you've brought us another wonderful friend of yours who is also making a big difference in the world. And when we think about business, when we think about how things were before the pandemic, many people were sequestered in a small office space, maybe in a cubicle, maybe they were in a conference room or a boardroom, and they really weren't interacting as much with nature. And I think we've seen a shift with people not being in the office all the time, possibly on some type of flexible work schedule. So I think, especially as we close out this year, in the last 20 months, 22 months, it's so important to be able to commune with nature and to go within ourselves to find inner peace. And I think that your friend, our guest, is going to be sharing more about that. So could you please introduce him?
Absolutely. Actually, it's my lovely neighbor. Actually, he's from France, but he's my neighbor here in Mallorca. And I know that he will move into Mallorca full time next year. We met last year. Actually, I was running around out of my property to look for one of my cats who was strolling around. So that's how we met. And then we had a conversation, what he's doing, what I was doing. And it was very interesting what he's doing, because he really does some fantastic things. As you mentioned, we are very busy. We are very driven. Most people live in cities because they're closer to their jobs. And most people are just disconnected to themselves, to the inner source, because they're disconnected to nature. And what Ludovic is doing, and I will explain later, is he helps people to reconnect to themselves by reconnecting to nature. They do amazing projects, beautiful seminars, beautiful teachings and workshops. And I'm very happy to come in because this is exactly what people need now in this challenging time, to reconnect and to recharge the energies and to go in a positive way. Because it's not only about reconnecting nature, what they do. He's also teaching about permaculture. He's teaching about reforestation, and I really liked it because we never talked about it. But years ago, I was 25 years at a huge company in nutrition about supplements, natural supplements, and I'm very into the nutrition. I really love fruits and vegetables. Absolutely. But the point is that most people are forced to go to the supermarket, buy the stuff. And we all know that today, especially fruits and vegetables, don't have the nutrition that years ago. We know that it's from science. It's 80-90% is minus on vitamins, on phytochemicals, because they're grown too fast. They are harvested unripped. And we all know that it has to be fully mature, the fruit and vegetable, that all the vitamins and especially the phytochemicals are in, so we don't get all the stuff that we normally need. And this is what Ludovic does. He educates people how they can reconnect to nature, how they can plant this stuff, even when they're not so fortunate like we are with a huge property on this beautiful island with a lot of sun, even when they're living in a city, having a small garden or balcony or a terrace. I mean, I was in New York City a few years ago, and I was seeing some fantastic stuff they do over there, like top roof planting, planting on the roof of the house and stuff like that. They do in beautiful things there, also in the Netherlands. So I think there's a lot of opportunities, but it's time to share this wisdom, to share this knowledge and the skills how to do it, because people are open to it. I strongly believe that. So I'm really looking forward to this topic. I guess it's very, very important, so people can learn to reconnect and also maybe growing their own stuff to become self-sufficient. I'm very happy about that he's joining us.
Good summary for that. That was amazing. Let's bring him out. Ludovic Flandin, welcome to the program.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Roland. Hi, Jacalyn. How are you?
Hi. It's nice to see you and hear about this amazing work that you're doing that is so important and relevant to all of us. Ludovic, what was the impetus to get you involved to go down this path?
In fact, I started to do the project for myself at the beginning because, like many of us, I started to be disconnected from nature because I was working in Paris in a very high-profile job with a lot of traveling, a lot of planes, hotels, meeting people, making deals, etc. And in the end, progressively, I cut myself from nature. I really remember when I was a child, and I think it's the case for many of us, I really felt connected to nature in the garden of my parents. And I started my career in London as an investment banker. And after 2 years, I crashed. Typically, I did a burnout. Then I quit my job. I went to my father's place and I started my own vegetable garden again. And there I thought, yes, it's something. Why have you lost that? Because it's very, very interesting for your harmony and everything. So that's why I thought about it, and I say, yeah, we all live like hectic lives with so many things to run, especially women today, because they have to do the professional life, the personal life with the kid, etc. And it's complicated to get to connect, to keep this connection with nature. So I thought it's not possible. I really want to change that. So it started in the city. I started in Paris to be involved in urban farming. These farms they build on the rooftops of the buildings, like Roland was mentioning. So I did that during 2 years. And then progressively, I understood that the connection to nature is also important to have the real one with the soil, with the trees, with the context of nature. So I started to look at a property outside of a city. And that's when I decided to start the project. And as many projects, it started with friends, with family. And then I realized everything we were doing at the farm when these people were visiting us was super useful for them. So I thought that, yes, why not making that one of the biggest projects of my life, to really create this connection, to study it, to see how it happens, why it happens, and to make something of a business with that, because I think it has a value for people. So that's what we are doing now with the farm. We are creating this meaningful connection with nature. And how we do that? We find that finally connection with nature, there are three different aspects. The first one is using nature as a service. Production of food, production of energy, production of aromatics, of medicine. And this is okay. You can use nature as long as you make it a sustainable way. And in using nature, being a farmer, but also just having a vegetable garden, a lot of things are happening. It's like children, it's like a baby, a project you have every year with the season. So that's the first part. And so that's in this area, we are developing different experience that I will mention later. And the second part of connection with nature is protection. And that's very easy to notice with children. Children, they really love to protect animals, to protect insects. My baby boy is 2 years old. He wants to have a snail as a friend. It's not because it's French, but I think it's because he sees that the protection to nature for a human that has an intellect and a vision of the future is very important. So that's the second area where we are trying to create experience and techniques where people can participate or even do themselves, launch themselves, project of protection to nature. And the last area, what is important, is not expecting anything from nature as a service and not wanting to protect it, but just having a discussion with nature. That can be meditation, that can be contemplation, that can be yoga, that can be a music festival in the middle of nature. And that's where you learn to use your emotions without any transactional way. And this is also a very, very nice area to create connection with nature. So in this, what I want to say is that you don't have to choose one of the three. You can really try to get this connection in nature in each of these areas. But what we are proposing at the farm is to be able to use some of them or all of them in programs. So a program, it can start with just a 2 hours workshop. It's very easy. You come to the farm if you are in Mallorca as a local, but also as a tourist, and you participate to one of the workshop, which is designed to learn, but also to do something on the farm. That's very important also, to mix the brain, the hands, the body, and the heart. And then it can go for more time. So you can come to have a workshop that is 1 day long. Tomorrow, there is a workshop about medicinal herbs at the farm that will be from 9 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then you can come to stay several days. Even we have some formulas for people that want to stay 1 week or 1 month if they want to really, really change their life about it. I think it's
Ludovic, wow. That's so much great information. Thank you. Wow. So I just want to unpack it a little bit. So you had one of the most stressful jobs on the planet, right? Dealing with money. That is a very stressful job. You just had enough. You're like, that's it. I am out of here. And you realized that you needed to reconnect with nature. And I'm sure that when you had this revelation, you probably started experiencing some changes physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah. First of all, I'm not alone. You can see that in countries like France, the States, Spain, etc., there are more and more people like us, more and more places like us, that you call the oasis. It's a sort of network, like, acupuncture a bit. So the Mother Earth, it's full of these little locations now that are connecting between themselves. And what is happening, to answer your question, is that each time I'm coming back to the farm, it's like a game. I know I will come, and the farm, the nature, will have made some jokes, some very big surprise, and I will have to start to observe. So each time I'm coming to the farm, or each time I'm starting a morning there, I just observe. I make a tour, walking, and then I observe with my eyes, with my ears, touching, looking at what had happened during the last time, the last night, etc. And that's the best part, because you really reconnect with your own body and your own feelings. which is not so easy in a city because everything, most of the time we live in a box. So the connection with feelings is not so easy. And then I'm starting to try to create these feedbacks, these loops of interaction with myself. And this is the best way, I think, for a human body to interact with people. And then what is also happening is that I have to adapt to the rhythm of the day, the rhythm of the seasons. For instance, since October, we entered into the time of the night, the time of the dark, the time of the dreams. So I'm obliged not to do the same kind of activities in terms of quantity and speed than I was doing in July and August, where the day was so long and you are full of energy. And this is also something we have difficulty to accept in cities because we are most of the time living in artificial spaces with artificial light. So it's very interesting because during this month of winter now, I'm sleeping more, first of all, which is important, I'm sure you know. And also I'm having more dreams and I'm trying to be more connecting to the other levels of reality. Like, I'm a very pragmatical guy and I know about money, etc. But at the same time, I know that you have to be connected with, I don't know if you can call them the spirits or the elements that are not visible, but that's also important. So when you are connected to nature, and again, it can be just during 1 hour, you have all these things that are happening where you are not trying to be the master of the world. You're just starting to understand you are part of it. You are an element that is important, but you are not the master of the world. You cannot change everything. It's more like the world is changing you in the end. So being connected to nature, in my case, it's really that more with my body, my emotions, and also being more where I should be, and placing my ego at the good place. Not too much ego, but not like feeling nothing. Because when you are acting with nature in the project of protection or in the project of production of food, you are really doing amazing things with your hands. And I was showing to Roland last time the result of our garden with all the pumpkins we had. And it was amazing because we were touching it, thinking about what we could do with that, etc. So it's real. It's really real.
Thank you for that, Ludovic. Roland, I wanted to ask you, I know you've lived a number of places, but where you are now, Mallorca, you are surrounded by nature. And how do you think that impacts you emotionally, physically, spiritually?
For me, it was really cool because I was raised in the city. I lived many years in the city. I was working there. But when I decided to go out of the city and actually landed here on the island, what really happened to me, I was slowing down, just slowing down. I might have tried it 30 years ago. We had it in another session. I started in 1990, so actually 31 years ago with yoga. And my intention was, I always said, I'm riding a very fast train. I want to see a little bit of the landscape too. And now when I moved to Mallorca, it really slowed down. Especially, Spanish people, the culture is different than Austrian culture. Of course, everything is slowed down, less structured. You're less patient, more patient. It absolutely brought me down. It grounded me much more. I have much more energy. I feel much more recharged. I feel less stressed. I get less obsessed with other things. I'm less detached with material things. I have more patience with other people. So it changed totally my life. Just to reconnect with myself, meaning with my source, my source, by reconnecting with nature. It's a game changer. It was absolutely a game changer for me, and I can absolutely, whoever can do this, move to the countryside, or even spend as much time as possible in the countryside. It's a game changer, absolutely. You see things totally different, and you know what? All these problems you have in the job or whatever, they're becoming so small in relation when you see the small. They're so small. Absolutely.
Wonderful points. Thank you. And you both brought up, I think you both brought up meditation. So there's meditation, there's yoga. And Ludovic, I'd love to have you share with our audience. Roland just suggested if you can get out to the country, if you can move, that's great. And there have been a lot of people who've moved during the pandemic. I personally moved. But what if you can't move? What if you live in a city, and we know there are people, like even in New York, they're spending a small fortune for a one room. Their whole life is in that one room. What can people do to bond with nature in even the smallest ways? They don't have access to a rooftop garden. What are some other things they can do?
So first of all, I mean, there is so much knowledge around us now with the web, etc., that it's very easy to really get to understand better. For instance, to start with food, because food is coming from nature, is coming from the soil, and that's where we really have to change our way of interacting with food. So if you want to connect with nature, you just have to start to look at what you are eating. What are the products? Where are they coming from? What are the stories behind it? And even in the city, a big city like Paris, you now have more and more stores, grocery stores that are opening with local products that are cultivated 200 kilometers around Paris maximum. And then you start to have the stories with the farmers. And more of the farmers now, they start also to have welcome days at their farm. So you are able to pick up things, to really understand them. And if you want to go further, you can support them financially. You can enter into these associations where you know which products will be available every week, etc., etc. And so this is very important, because once you have gone to one of these farms to see how the products, the food is harvested, is cultivated, you change totally the dimension of relation with nature. And every day, or not every day, but most of the days, you are doing shopping, grocery shopping. This is your first point of contact. What you are putting in your body, which is coming from the soil. So you will not be perfect. You will not buy everything that is organic, for local, etc. But you will start to have a different relationship with that. Even when you are eating that, not eating that so quickly, like there is a train to catch and I want to eat quickly, etc. But like savoring it, telling the story about it, etc., etc. So that's one of the entry points. That there are many of them, of course.
Excellent. I love that, because that's something that people can comprehend when we think about what we're putting into our body. You're right. A lot of times we're just sitting, I know in between shows, I'm like eating a granola bar that has all these chemicals. I don't even know what's in there, but I just think, oh, I just need something. I'm going to grab something quickly, which is not a healthy way to be. We have to put more thought into it.
Yes. I guess what is also very important is that people have to realize it's not about making a large step. It's not about, okay, I have to leave everything behind, I have to sell everything, I live to go to the countryside, I buy a farmhouse, I grow vegetables, I grow cattle. It's not about that. It's doing, and most people of course can't do it, but it's an excuse. It's just doing, as Ludovic said, it's doing a first step, being more conscious what you're buying, what you're eating. Then maybe on a small balcony, or even there are products on the market you can in-house grow your fruits and vegetables. Just start small. Do the first step. Actually, every journey starts with a first small step.
Agreed. Yeah.
I love that. Very well said.
The connection to nature, we were speaking a lot about our transformation, personal, Roland, myself, etc. Of course, it's important. And I think it's really what I want people to experience when they come to the farm. But the other part about this connection to nature, perhaps it's a bit more, it's not so funny and so happy, but it's super important, is that as a species, as humans, we now need to enter a new relationship with nature. Since Descartes, since 600, 700 years, we have been predators to nature. We have been using mainly competition and destruction. Competition is one of the rules of nature, but it's not the only one. Cooperation, synergies are on some of the others. So that's why for me today, that everyone, people living in the city, in the countryside, are connected to nature is important, because in the culture we need to change. We need to change and not to be predators of nature. We need to collaborate with it, and we need to be able to really understand that we can build something on the long run, not like using nature only as a full tank of resources without taking care of the future, but also to really be connected with that. And for me, it's something that I really understood a few years ago, that we are a living animal. We need nature for the cycles, for the loops of connection. And women have always been more connected to nature. And that also, we killed it after the Middle Age with the rise of science. We killed the witches, the brujas, as they say in Spain, but also the culture of interaction with nature, because it was more easy to dominate it, to be in the domination, which is quite masculine. I'm a man, but I have to really acknowledge that. And we need to get this connection of interaction with nature, of respect, that we have lost. And that's why in our change also, I think women are so important, because for many reasons, that are, some of them are cultural, social, other are biological, with the cycles, of course, every month, you are more connected to it. For us men, it's more easy to live in boxes. We love boxes, like the car, the house, the nightclub, when you're dead, the coffin. But in the end, we need to get this connection outside of the box. And even psychologically, perhaps I'm going too far, but us men, we love to make boxes in our head, the family, the office, etc. Most of the women that I know, they are all connecting different parts of their life much more easily. So that's a cultural change we need to implement into men. And I know, Roland, you are working a lot on that, and about men in business, men in family, to be more complete. And that's very important. So I also want to keep this kind of, I would say, souvenir to what happened before, where women were much more connected, and we have to look at it, to look at what's happening in terms of medicinal herbs, in terms of cooking, in terms of healing, caring, taking care, and that's very important. So the personal development, that's why people are coming at SA QENTI. They want to be less stressed, as we said. But also at the same time, what I see and I want to see is that they connect to nature and they develop a new relationship with it, which is more like sustainable in the long term. And it's very important also, especially for children.
Thank you, Ludovic. I have to laugh because as you were talking about the boxes, I thought, I wonder if he's going to touch on the fact that men are able to put people into a box. Like if you had a sock drawer and you had those dividers. And I was seeing somebody and I said, you don't call as much. And he said, I put you in the box. Like you're in this box and we're working on this box. That just made me laugh. Thank you for sharing that.
There is no box in nature. It doesn't exist.
Yes,
everything is connected point. And there's a lot of curves, etc. But the rectangle, the square, it's a very impossible for spirals. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. That's a great way to lead us into our break. We're going to take a very short break. We're going to watch one clip, which is called the Earthshot Prize. I think it's very apropos for what we're discussing today. And I'd like to thank Ian Pelham-Turner and Helena Shard for sharing this with us. Let's take a look and we'll be right back on the Mallorca Connection.
Ours is a world of wonder. Every day it reminds us of its beauty. It touches us, teaches us, and astounds us. But it also warns us that what we throw away does not go away. That higher temperatures mean a lot more than longer summers. That we can no longer take life as we know it for granted. We are at a unique stage in our history. Never before have we had such an awareness of what we are doing to the planet. And never before have we had the power to do something about that.
welcome back to USA Global TV, home of Talking Heads, and hello to our friends at Business Talk Radio. We're so glad that you're here on the Mallorca Connection. My co-host and friend Roland is joining us from Mallorca. Wow, what a surprise. And our guest Ludovic is joining us from Paris. We were discussing how Ludovic had a very high pressure career as an investment banker, had enough, gave it up, left, and decided to get back to nature. And so, Ludovic, I'd love for you to share a little bit more about your farm, exactly what it's called, where it is, how people can come there. And you mentioned some of your offerings, but we'd like to hear more.
Okay, of course, yes. So SA QENTI, it's the name of the farm. It's a reference to the hummingbird in Quechua, in Peruvian, which is Kenti, meaning the hummingbird. And SA QENTI is the house of the hummingbird. We called it because we want that to understand that everyone can do a little part of the solution, like a hummingbird. And so it's located in Mallorca. I think there are three reasons why we chose Mallorca. The first one is because it's personal. I love Mediterranean style and climate. There's so much history and culture. I can't spend one summer without being in the Mediterranean Sea. So for me, it was important. And also I understood that I really feel attracted to water. Mallorca is an island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. And I feel well there. And I think most of people also can understand that the connection to water, to the sea, to the ocean is important for them. In my case, it's because I have also thought Mallorca was a good idea because Mallorca has been the poster child of globalization. It created Europe mass tourism with all the hotel chain like Melia, Barcelona, etc. With all the beaches you can see on the island where a lot of people are going every summer for tourism. And suddenly the island came from poverty to Claudia Schiffer and 18 million euros houses. So everything came with excesses and problems about water, about energy, agriculture, cruises, and of course also problems of agriculture with a very poor soil, climate change. Now, in 2021, we had more than 100 tropical nights in the island, which is really a big change from like 5 years only. And it attracted me because I thought, it's a perfect place to make the change happening because it's so visible. 20 million visitors go every year to the island. Most of the visitors, it's a good place for them to understand that they can have access to other places where the connection with nature is different. So for me, it was really good. And also the infrastructure is amazing. The airport, the road, etc. There is heritage site from UNESCO. So it's very famous, very well known. And I thought, I don't want to be lost in the mountains where nobody is going to see what we are doing. We need to be connected to people, to acknowledge that so that they can really say, okay, we are located 12 minutes from the airport. We are located 20 minutes from the main city, Palma. So it's very easy to gain access. And that's part of the philosophy of what we are doing, is that it's easy to get access to this kind of places where you can have experiences of connection to nature that are different. So that's what we are doing. We are 12 minutes from the airport, very easy to connect. But at the same time, when you come to the farm, it's a very countryside landscape. We have a lot of trees that are carobi trees that are producing carobi. It's a nut that is very useful for many reasons. And also we have dry stone walls, all this very typical countryside Mallorcan thing. So you really feel that you are not anymore in the city. So this is a great space for cutting the connection to things that are a bit artificial and getting back to the nature. What we are doing, in fact, we are proposing to people this kind of connection I was mentioning. First, in terms of production, nature as a productive partnership. We are doing a workshop about vegetable gardens. So how to have an organic vegetable gardens, would it be in the city or in the countryside? There is a workshop on Sunday, this Sunday, about it. We are doing also a workshop about medicinal herbs. We partner with a guy from Mallorca called Mark Moll, and he's doing a workshop on Saturday about these medicinal herbs you can find in the ground, even in the city, and you can use to create products for cosmetics also for headaches, for belly aches, etc., etc. It's not very complicated. It's just that most of these things have been forbidden by the states since 50, 60, 70 years in Europe. Perhaps it's also the same in the States. And also we are creating what we call a food forest. So the food forest, it's a culture, a technique that has been reinvented because it already existed when the Inca and the Maya were doing forest. It's from 25 square meter up to 3,000 square meter. You plant different trees and plants that can be used for human for food. And you have to be very diverse. So it's about at least 20 different species. And you can also be using different levels of plants, like from the soil plants, where you will have the vegetables, but also the trees, the big trees, etc. And progressively, you are creating a forest that is edible, that you can eat. So that's one of the projects we are doing. In our case, we have a 3,000 square meter food forest. We started to plant it like 2 years ago. And every 2 months, we plant more trees. We plant more pomegranate trees. We plant more olive trees, but also we do the vegetable gardens, etc. And people come to participate to this workshop. And they learn that also they can do that when they're back home. So that's some of the activity we do around production. The rest of the activity are very important. Protection of the nature is very important. So that's also what we do with the reforestation projects that we have started 2 years ago.
I guess it's a very good project. Can you go a little bit deeper? Because this is Miyawaki method. Because
of course, I'm so passionate about that. So
I'm so curious about that.
Okay, so reforestation is something we all have to do now. I mean, it's no joke. No need to wait the COP27 or COP28. It's something, planting trees, it's something that everybody should be doing, especially children. But planting trees, we don't have to do it the old way, where you plant forests, all of the same species that are very vulnerable to climate change or to diseases. You have to do it cleverly. And one of these guys, the Professor Miyawaki in Japan, 60 years ago, he started to understand that to plant a good forest that can start at 100 square meter, 1,000 square feet, you just need to do two things. You need to do very dense and very diverse. So you plant like every square meter, you will have 3, 4, 5 different plants, and it's very dense. So you recreate the condition of a natural forest very quickly. So this technique, now in Asia, it's very well known. In India, in Japan, you have thousands of forests like that. In Europe and in the States, it started like 6, 7 years ago. And we are now part of an international coalition of forest makers that are using this technique. The coalition is called SUGI, S-U-G-I. And they have planted forests in Boston, in Kenya, in Belgium, in Chile, in Latin America. And we have planted here in Spain the first ones 2 years ago. So we have planted very small pocket forests for the moment to see how it happens. It was 200 square meters. But in this season, next winter, we will plant more forest outside of the finca in Mallorca and in Madrid, about 3,000 square meters, using the same techniques. And this is amazing because these techniques, the trees are very small. They are 30 centimeter high, so you can do that with children. It's an activity you can do with people that don't know how to plant a forest. And you can do that in the city square. You can do that next to the motorway. You can do that in a school on a very, very limited amount of space. And the results are amazing because in 2 to 3 years, the forest is already 3 to 4 meters high. And within 10 years, the forest is already 8 meters high and is totally autonomous. So it's a technique that we love, and many people start to realize it's a very good one too. It was in The Economist, in the journal, a few months ago. And it's also creating change because it's not frightening for people. You don't have to go to Amazonia to plant a forest. You can see really the result in your own neighborhood. Miyawaki. It's not very easy to remember, but
there's so much value that you just shared, and each one of us could go in and plant a tree. I think that there's a lot of misconception that you have to live a certain place and do certain things in order to plant a tree. We hear about a lot of charities that they'll plant trees if you donate money, but this sounds like it's something that all of us can do. We can do it now.
especially in our cities that are not built for the climate change. In 15 years or 20 years, Paris climate will be like Sevilla in Spain. And the streets we have, which are beautiful, Haussmann style, there is no trees almost. So in the city, in the summer already, children now in Paris, they play in the parking lots underground because it's where it's fresh. When you have these trees, it's not very complicated to do. You really have a different feeling in the street. And many cities in Latin America, for instance, or in Tel Aviv, in Israel, you have all these trees everywhere. So the summer are you can bear them. So it's very simple. Like the tree is doing so many things, starting to protect you from the sun, of course.
Thank you so much for all this wonderful information. We are at the end of our show, but I want people to be able to reach out to you. I have put your contact information on social media. I'm going to spotlight you for people who are listening on the radio and they can't read the banner. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, and who would you like to contact you?
All right, so it's easy. If you have an Instagram, just go on our account, which is SA QENTI, SAQENTI. And we will answer you very, very quickly. Or you can send us an email at sakenti@gmail.com, also very easy. And you can see we have an agenda of activities which are available, but also just write an email and we can create a program for you, or we can speak about perhaps 1 week you want to spend with your family or with your friends next summer, and we will arrange something for you. So we are tailoring things for people. And also things are already available, like yoga classes every week. I know, Roland, you have to come to the next one. And so we are very open to new ideas, of course.
And I'm just going to spell for everyone. The Instagram account is SAQENTI, and the website address is www.saQENTI.com. Thank you so much, Ludovic, for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm feeling like the three of us should do yoga together or something. We have to do it virtually, but let's figure that out. I think we should.
You're welcome. Come whenever you want.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. We'll see you again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Roland.
Thank you, Ludovic. See you soon on the island. Looking forward to share a glass of wine and some oils with you when you come back on the island.
Okay, cool. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you so much for inviting him. He was a wealth of information and about a topic that we haven't really discussed on any other show.
Yeah, it's two things I love with Ludovic. It's all this wisdom, this knowledge he has, but he really brings it to people so they can do it at home in their town, in their village, in their neighborhood. It's, as I said before, it's about doing the first step. And he really educates people and said, okay, you can do something. It doesn't matter where you are living, doesn't matter the conditions are, just buy one little tree and plant it in your neighborhood or whatever it is. Just little steps. I mean, everybody's doing it. It will make a huge, huge difference.
And we can all make a difference, and we need to do what we can, each of us.
Absolutely.
Roland, I'm going to spotlight you. And for people who cannot see the social media posting or the banner, what's the best way to reach you, and who should contact you?
Yeah, the best way to reach us is go on the website. There's all the information and also the contact formula. It's available in English and in German. It's www.spartner-performance, performance.com. And yeah, who wants to contact us? Business leaders or even, I say, leaders of startup companies. In last time, a lot of startups company came to us to help them to build up processes, design processes, help them up with, because they're fast growing and successful in the market. So everyone who is running a business or wants to run a business, we are there. We help you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And also for people listening on the radio, it's Spartner with 2 R's. And then when he says minus, it's also dash here in the States, performance.com. All right. Thank you, Roland. It was so minus dash. So it was great seeing you as always. And I look forward to catching up over the weekend.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us here. And thanks for all the work you're doing. Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye.
Thank you. God bless you too. Bye-bye. We have another show coming up right after this in 10 minutes. It's called A World of Difference. It's our first show. So please do join us. Thank you again to Ludovic, and thank you to Roland for being here. And thank you to you, because without you, we wouldn't have a platform. All right, we'll see you again soon. Bye.